right, so you've probably seen the headlines by now, right? This whole thing with the UnitedHealthcare CEO, just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I mean, just tragic.
Yeah, we're going to deep dive into this whole thing, what happened with the CEO.
Brian Thompson?
Yeah, Brian Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at the CNN report from December 4th, 2024,
Right.
detailing this, well, I guess you'd call it an assassination, right? I mean, shot and killed.
Targeted. Very brazen. Yeah, you don't really see that every day.
No. Especially, thinking about somebody like that, I mean...
The level of security you'd expect.
Right.
You would think, right. You would think there's a whole apparatus in place to prevent something like this.
Yeah, and it happened. I mean, this is in Midtown Manhattan.
Broad daylight, Midtown Manhattan. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he was going to this investor conference.
The annual investor conference for the company. Yeah, just unbelievable.
So, I mean, this kind of raises some pretty big questions about security, especially for, CEOs and stuff like that.
Well, not just CEOs, right? I mean, anybody in a high-profile position.
Yeah, true.
It makes you think, is this the new normal? Are we going to see more of this?
Well, we have seen some stuff. I mean, just in recent years, remember the tech CEO?
Oh, the kidnapping attempt. Yeah, I mean, that was terrifying.
That was, narrowly escaped that one.
And there was that pharmaceutical executive in London a few years back, right?
Yeah, so it's pretty scary stuff.
It is. It's a chilling reminder, really, of the risks that come with, I guess, being in the public eye.
Yeah, so for anybody listening who maybe doesn't know much about Brian Thompson, maybe we can kind of, who was he really?
So Brian Thompson, I mean, you're talking about a giant in the healthcare industry.
Yeah, he's been with UnitedHealthcare for how long?
8 years he was at the helm. And I mean, in those 8 years, he transformed the company.
Yeah, he really made them like one of the
biggest health insurance providers, period. He was praised. I mean, investors loved him.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But of course, any figure like that, there's always going to be Critics, yeah, especially when it comes to healthcare policies, right?
So he was kind of a polarizing figure then.
You could say that, yeah. I mean, he was very vocal about his support for private sector solutions in healthcare.
Okay.
Which, obviously put him at odds with folks who are pushing for universal healthcare, those kinds of things.
Right. So that could be a factor, right?
I mean, it's definitely something investigators will be looking into for sure.
Yeah, it's too early to really...
Way too early to speculate, yeah, about motive or anything like that.
Right. But it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
So in terms of the investigation, what do we know so far? I mean, they're still looking for the guy, right?
Right. The gunman is still at large. Last seen in Central Park. Can you believe that?
Central Park, huh?
Shortly after the shooting, apparently.
So he's just, like, out there somewhere?
Well, they have a vague description. They've released that. And they're urging, New Yorkers to be vigilant.
That's got to be pretty,
I mean, can you imagine, right? You're just trying to go about your day, and this is in the back of your mind?
Yeah, definitely unsettling. It kind of adds this layer of, I don't know, an easiness to everything.
Totally. You're looking over your shoulder, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot to process.
So going back to the motive, aside from like this whole political angle, are there other, I don't know, things that the investigators might be looking at?
Oh, for sure. I mean, business rivalries, right? Especially in healthcare, that's a cutthroat world.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of money at stake.
Huge amounts of money, tons of competition. So you could be talking corporate sabotage, maybe a competitor trying to, take him out of the picture.
Wow. So it could be like a hit, basically.
It's possible. I mean, or it could be something more personal, right? Maybe a disgruntled former employee, a business partner who felt wronged, those kinds of things.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like the investigators have, a lot to sift through.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of potential avenues to explore.
So what about the impact of this whole thing? Like on UnitedHealthcare itself? I mean, what happens now?
Well, the immediate impact, I mean, you're going to see it in the stock market, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I mean, volatility for sure. People are going to be reacting to the news.
Yes, selling off, I imagine.
Probably. And then longer term, you've got the board of directors. They've got to figure out the leadership transition.
Oh, right. Yeah. They need to, appoint someone new.
Exactly. And they got to do it during this time of, I mean, let's face it, a lot of uncertainty.
Right. Because nobody knows. I mean, this whole thing, it's
unprecedented, really. And it's going to cast a shadow, over the company.
And it could potentially impact the whole healthcare industry, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is a wake-up call, I think, for other executives in healthcare.
Like in terms of security and stuff?
Yeah, personal security for sure. They're going to be reevaluating, what measures they have in place. And then you have the whole debate about gun control. That's going to flare up again.
Yeah, but this happened in New York, right?
Right. I mean, this is a city with some of the strictest gun laws in the country.
So it just goes to show, I guess, that these things can happen anywhere.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so unsettling, for everyone.
Yeah, this whole thing's just got so many layers to it.
It does. It's a complex situation. And like you said, there's a lot we still don't know.
So many questions. And it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
It will. And for our listeners out there, I mean, think about this, right? Does this event make you question your own safety?
Yeah, especially if you live in, a big city.
Right, a major metropolitan area. It's definitely something to think about, to reflect on as we wait for, more information to come out about this whole case.
Definitely a lot to unpack here, and we'll be sure to keep you updated as we learn more.
Absolutely. We'll be following the story closely.
All right, that's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.